The Gayatri Mantra is my all-weather armor.
The minute we turned back, the sky completely cleared, the waves settled down as if it hadn't rained at all.
It is my shield of protection.
A lot of orthodox people believe that ladies should not chant the Gayatri Mantra.
It is my passcode to Swami's grace.
Every time she finishes the Gayatri Sahasranama, a flower falls from Mother Gayatri, assuring to her that I am there to take care of you.
What I have always felt is Gayatri Mata is herself a lady.
It is my superpower.
Then why are women prohibited from chanting the Gayatri Mantra?
Gayatri Mata has actually extended my life and given me this opportunity to experience the glory of the Sri Sathya Sai Avatar. And it is my life's greatest insurance plan.
Sai Ram and welcome to Good Morning with Gayatri Mantra. Yes, the Gayatri Mantra is the greatest insurance plan. It's not just the greatest insurance plan, it is the greatest assurance plan. It is a supreme assurance designed by the divine for all of us. On March 10, 2002, a major fire broke out in an apartment complex in Georgia, USA. So many families were rendered homeless within minutes. One family in that group was a Sai devotee family. They had just returned a few days ago from Prasanthi Nilayam. Swami had called them to the interview room and Swami had performed the Upanayam of their two children. They had returned from Prasanthi Nilayam overjoyed. They were swimming in that ecstasy of bliss of having such an impossible dream fulfilled in the divine hands. And now they were driven to nadir of despair when they saw right in front of their eyes their home and their entire material possessions reduced to dust. The wife was crying uncontrollably, not because they have lost everything, but she was concerned that they would have lost even what Swami had given them, the clothes and the sari. Personally, Swami had gifted her and the family. And the husband was worried that they would have lost all their valuable documents, passports, IDs. The building management came in, they inspected the fire, and they said all those families whose houses are not completely gutted can go in and pick up their valuables. But their house was not among them. The husband kept consoling the wife. Don't worry, Swami is there. Swami is with us. Swami is definitely watching over us. But in his heart of hearts, he was very, very concerned that they would have to start their life all over again, and without those documents, how will they manage? That night, Swami comes in the dream of this man, the husband, and Swami says, don't worry, I will not put you through the hassle of getting your documents again. They are safe. The next day, they go to that site. They reach the area, which was earlier their bedroom. In a plastic cover, they had kept all these precious documents. It was on a bed. They saw that that cover was still there. The bed on which the cover was there was reduced to ashes. It was a mystery how fire had not caught the paper documents. They were intact in that plastic cover. Not just that. Next to that, all the valuables, all those precious gifts that Swami had given to the family, those clothes and the sari, everything was there. There was also a photograph in that bedroom which Swami had personally signed and given them many years ago. That too was intact. And from then on, the couple says, we had a dream run. We had a dream run of divine grace because very soon they found a new house. And on Bhagawan's birthday, November 23rd, 2002, they entered the new house. It was closer to the husband's office. It was also closer to their children's school. So it was the best thing that could have happened. As they entered the new house with the new possessions, the husband and the wife, they say, we entered the house not just with new possessions, but also with a new mindset. The mindset that all of this is nothing. Anything can be reduced to zero at any point in time. The only thing that matters in life is Bhagawan and His grace. They could not wait to come to Prasanthi Nilayam next year. In February, they were in Prasanthi Nilayam. On February 23rd, 2003, they were with Bhagawan in the interview room. And the first question Swami asked, who protected you? The couple, they were speechless. Swami said, it is the Gayatri Mantra that protected you. Last year, when you were here, I initiated your children into the Gayatri Mantra. And I asked all of you to keep chanting the Gayatri Mantra. When the crisis happened, you continued to chant the Gayatri Mantra, and as you chanted, I was with you every moment. Gayantam trayate iti Gayatri. Anyone who chants the Gayatri Mantra continuously is protected by the mantra. There is no one who has chanted the Gayatri Mantra and has not benefited from it. You make the mantra a part of your life, and you can also vouch for its power, for its grace, for its glory.
It started because my mom was very into watching the Good Morning with Gayatri Mantra series. I remember being about 13 years old and driving to, my mom would drive me to school, and every single morning she would play a different episode. And whether the people interviewed were students or professors, whatever their age was, I think she would always remind me to listen and take in their stories, and again remind me the power of the Gayatri Mantra. So one incident that I had about 2 years ago was when my family and I were on a holiday. We were in Mauritius, and we were by the sea, and we took a boat. It was called a catamaran boat, and there were a group of people. We were in like a tour. It was a tour package, and we were on a boat, and we kind of went out into sea because we were venturing to a different island. And then suddenly when we were out in sea, it started raining really heavily, and the waves were kind of crashing against each other, and the boat was rocking back and forth and back and forth. And I think that the people started being really scared, and I remember being extremely scared because I was just very scared of these kind of things. And my brother was also starting to feel sick, and people on the boat were feeling sick. But the thing is, the tour guide company that we went to were very adamant on not turning back, even though it was raining and the waves were crashing against each other, because they didn't they weren't giving a refund. So I remember them being very adamant on crossing the sea, even though the weather was extremely it was very bad weather, and the situation was getting kind of out of hand. So I remember in that moment I was reminded to chant the Gayatri Mantra, and at that same moment my mom and my brother and my dad, we were also chanting the Gayatri Mantra. So I put my head on my mom's lap and I closed my eyes, and I just started chanting the Gayatri Mantra again and again and again and again. And for a while I started the situation wasn't really getting any better, because I think the boat started rocking a bit more and water was splashing in. But I just kept on continuing, closing my eyes and Gayatri Mantra again and again and again, and reminding myself of Swami. And at that moment, the tour guide company, who was very adamant on not turning back, suddenly decided to turn back. And that was the first moment where I was like, okay, this is working out. The Gayatri Mantra is working out. So we turned back. The boat went back to where we first left off. And then as we were going back, the minute we turned back, the sky completely cleared. The waves settled down as if it hadn't rained at all. And when we touched down on shore, the ground was completely dry, and the sand was dry. The benches on the beach were dry as if it hadn't rained. And I remember just thinking, okay, I owe this to the Gayatri Mantra. I owe this because of how I had closed my eyes and given my faith to Swami and just continued chanting again and again and again. And also I owe it again to my parents who have initiated this habit of me chanting the Gayatri Mantra. So I think that was one instance where I went back home and it really struck me that no, this is really nothing else but the power of the Gayatri Mantra.
Professor Anil Kumar once asked Bhagawan, Swami, can women chant the Gayatri Mantra? How many times should one chant the Gayatri Mantra, especially after the Upanayam ceremony is done? And can Gayatri Mantra nullify our karma? Bhagavan said, anyone can chant the Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Mantra transcends all barriers of caste, community, nationality, gender, time and space. After initiating the Vatus into the sacred thread in the year 1983, Swami said, everyone who's initiated should chant the Gayatri Mantra at least thrice during the day, morning, noon and night. And when you do this, Swami said, it works like a karma cancelling mechanism. It is like having a cash transaction. You go somewhere, you pay cash, you buy your stuff, and that transaction is complete. There's nothing carried over. There is no debt. Swami said, whatever acts we do during the day, none of those karmas will be carried over. There is no debt of our karma if we chant the Gayatri Mantra. That is the reason Swami said the Gayatri Mantra should be chanted not just a few times a day but incessantly, because how can you stipulate a time period when you are invoking the one who is beyond time? Swami said, Sarvatra Sarvakaleshu Sarvada Harichintanam. That is how you should chant the Gayatri Mantra. The Gayatri Smarana should be chanted, should be done at all times, at all places, under all circumstances. And when we do this, how exactly can we overpower our karma? Has anyone experienced this? Can someone say how their karma has been cut because of the Gayatri Mantra? Let's listen to a first-hand experience.
It was a few years after Mahasamadhi that I had a surreal experience in life. I had intensified my chanting of the Gayatri Mantra all by itself. It was not a conscious decision. I just found myself chanting it more and more and more. And there was a sequence of events that happened. I may not recall them in the exact order they happened because they happened very quickly. One day, I went to see somebody at the super hospital and there was a weighing scale. And I stepped on it and I suddenly noticed it was showing my weight as quite like it had gone down, which was great news because I have a hard time trying to lose weight. But then I went back to see, did the needle go back to zero, or was I imagining maybe the weighing scale is not set right? And then it again showed a little considerable drop in my weight. And around the same time, I noticed some lumps on myself. And I went to the general hospital and I met with the doctor there. She told me, I told her that I think I may have a couple of lumps. And she said, no, actually she found 4 or so. And then to cut the story short, a visiting oncologist who came for the Sri Sathya Sai Mobile Hospital to Prasanthi examined me and confirmed that I had lumps and I should immediately go for a mammogram so that they know the exact location of these lumps, and therefore a needle biopsy can be more accurate to draw the samples and see what's going on. So I went to Bangalore. I remember my husband and I drove nice and early, and when we reached a particular lab that we were advised to go to, we were the first patient. I was the first patient there. There was nobody before me. I had my mammogram and I came out and there was nobody really after me in the mammogram section because we started really early, had a nice lunch and came back. And then I sent this report to the doctor who had come from America at Super Hospital, who had advised me to share, he was supposed to do my needle biopsy. So when I sent him the report, he kept asking me, Mrs. Munshi, who was there before you in the lab? I told him I think I was the first patient, and he asked me if there were patients after me. I didn't notice any. The waiting room was empty. And then he called me to and I took my reports with him. He called me to our super hospital in Prashanti Gram, and he examined and he said, can I just do one last ultrasound? So I said, okay, why not? So in our hospital here, I underwent one more ultrasound. He said, there is nothing I can find here. So I joked with him. I said, okay, doctor, I'll go home and have a nice, healthy green smoothie. And he said the images showed absolutely nothing. Now, during this period, when I was going through this drama and my husband was stressed out and we were making appointments, I had this very unusual experience of constant Gayatri Mantra chanting happening inside me. I don't know whether I was doing it consciously or a voice inside me was doing it. And I had one more experience. I experienced like a little crawl under my skin everywhere, like a buzz, 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 buzz. And I could tell, like working at, even in my sleep, I could tell it's crawling up behind my ear, but under my skin, okay? It was not like a bug. It was like a small vacuum cleaner working inside of me, a very tiny one. And I didn't know what to make of it. It was almost like a mechanical vibration and it was going through. And I was chanting the Gayatri. And you put two and two together whichever way you like. But the outcome is about 10 years later, here I am. And I think every breath we breathe is a gift of God. Every day we live is an extension. And in my case, it is my firm belief that Gayatri Mata has actually extended my life and given me this opportunity to experience the glory of the Sri Sathya Sai avatar. Nothing else, nothing more.
That is why it is said, Sarva Roga Nivarini, Gayatri. There is no disease that the Gayatri Mantra cannot cure. There was a devotee who was suffering from a heart ailment for many years. One day, a holy man comes to him and he gives him a hug. And that hug was kind of a healing hug. After that, he started feeling better, but he was not cured completely. The holy man said, come to Prasanthi Nilayam on such and such date. Bhagawan is performing a grand homam. I will be there. You should also be there in the divine hamlet. The wife had no clue about the husband's heart condition. But one interesting practice that the wife had started was to chant the Gayatri Mantra. And this is because the wife's father was very devoted to the Gayatri Mantra. He used to chant it continuously. And a few days before, the wife's father had passed on. He had merged with Swami. And the wife saw that he left his mortal coil in such a serene, peaceful manner. As they say, anayasa maranam. It was like he was just falling into the lap of Swami and breathing his last. And when the wife saw that, she felt that this was the direct consequence of her father chanting the Gayatri Mantra, and as a tribute to her father, as a tribute to the sadhana of her father, she started chanting the Gayatri Mantra. But the only prayer she had to Bhagawan was, Swami, I have begun this sadhana. You must in some way acknowledge this practice that I am doing. And one interesting tradition or a routine that this family had was, they would always imagine that Swami is living with them in the house. So they would wake up Swami as they wake up. They would live with Swami during the lunch times, during the evening times, and in the night also. They would first put Bhagawan to sleep and then they would retire. And they had heard that in the earlier era, when Mr. Raja Reddy was serving Swami, someone who served Swami for more than 25 years, Bhagawan would ask Mr. Raja Reddy to sing a bhajan. And Swami loved to hear this bhajan before he retired in the night. Radha Lola Ramya Suchela Rajitavana Mala Gopala Rajitavana Mala. So this bhajan, Swami loved to listen, and this bhajan describes the Lord as wearing a beautiful mala, a garland. And the couple, they would sing this to Swami and they would imagine that Swami is wearing that garland and they would think, oh, Swami is now going to sleep. So that garland has to be now taken off from Bhagawan. Swami has to give us this garland, others how will he sleep? And so they would imagine that Swami is taking off that garland and giving it to them. That is how they would spend their evening, the late evening with Swami, accept that garland from Swami, put Swami to sleep, and then they would go and retire. Now, coming back to the story, they are in Prasanthi Nilayam, and the holy man says, come to this spot at such and such time. And when this man goes there, the moment the holy man sees him, he removes a garland that he was wearing and he puts it on this man. And the moment that garland falls on his body, instantly a wave of healing energy enters his being. And in that moment, he is completely healed, completely cured. And the holy man says, this garland is not an ordinary garland. I have chanted 21 lakh times. I have done 21 rounds of Gayatri Japa wearing this Tulasi garland. And Swami today directed me to give this garland to you. It is all the power of the Gayatri. It is all your prayer, your penitence. And the wife at that instant knew how Bhagawan had acknowledged. There could have been no better way for Swami to acknowledge the chanting that the wife was doing. Swami had secured her life, her mangalyam, her future. There are countless individuals like this man who have made Gayatri Mantra a part of their lives, and they went on to lead happier, healthier and longer lives. Today, we live in times when there is so much of pollution, there is so much of uncertainty. We don't know the origins of the food we eat. We don't know how pure is the air we breathe. We have to live in cities where we have to breathe that air because we have no choice. That is our life and our livelihood. Unknowingly, so many toxins go into us and we don't know what will hit us tomorrow. It could be a pandemic like COVID. We need a protective shield that can safeguard us. And Swami says, it is the Gayatri Mantra that can safeguard you, that can protect you, that can give you that armor, which will create that kind of a defense system around you. When we have a robust air defense system, then the nation is protected from no matter what kind of missile hits the country. Similarly, if we have this divine defense system with us by chanting the Gayatri Mantra, no matter where we are, this mantra will protect us. We may be going through fire, we may be going through water, we may be going through the greatest of challenges. This mantra will ensure that we are safeguarded.
When COVID started in March 2020, all of us had no clue how to deal with it. And the negative news was really making me panic, seeing the rising number of cases every day. But in middle of March 2020, I decided that I'm not going to focus on the negative news. I prayed to Gayatri Mata and I said, Ma, I'm going to chant the Gayatri Mantra 108 times every day. Please save us from COVID and let us feel your presence. So I started chanting the Gayatri Mantra 108 times. And literally on the third day, it also happened to be Yugadi of 2020, I had a dream of Bhagawan in the afternoon when I slept for a while. I saw Bhagawan walking out for darshan from Yajur Mandir and I was moving towards the ladies' side VIP gate. I woke up feeling so exhilarated and I felt I felt so positive and I felt his reassuring presence and his protective hand, and I felt he was saying, hey, don't worry, I will take care of you during this pandemic. I want to share that my parents and I did not get affected during COVID at all. It was really Swami's grace and Gayatri Mata's protection.
So in the year 2010, my young teenage daughter flew from Toronto, Canada to Delhi. And she arrived just close to midnight, and then she had to spend some hours at the airport in Delhi and catch an early morning flight to Bangalore to come to Puttaparthi, where we lived at that time, as we do now. So in her case, it just so happened that immigration customs happened very quickly on the international terminal, and she had to move to the domestic terminal, and there were no passengers there because the early morning flights would mean people would start trooping in around 4 or 5 a.m. So here was this young petite teenager all by herself, in a very desolate, deserted airport. And she felt extremely unsafe because of the presence of some very hefty, large men around her who were on duty, and they didn't look particularly civilized or friendly. So she started to feel anxiety and fear, and she kept moving her spot at the terminal from one place to another, but there was nobody else around. She was so scared that she didn't even use the restroom because she thought if she enters the restroom, somebody might follow her. And at that time, she fell back on the power of the Gayatri Mantra. With all her might, from the depth of her heart, she started chanting it inside her heart, furiously, fervently. And she said she could feel the power of it radiating from her being and creating this circle of protection all around her. It was as though she was in a security bubble. She had better than Z level protection that VIPs in India enjoy. She said nobody, even the people who were trying to kind of swirl towards her and ask her, Madam, kahan se aaye ho, kahan ja rahe ho? Very typical conversation, where have you come from, where are you going, and so on. Nobody could approach her. Nobody could enter her circle of divine protection. And she was able to be by herself, absolutely safe and calm and confident. And she felt the divine arms wrapped around her through the night till it was about 4:30 and people started trooping in to catch early morning flights. And when she came and she told us about this experience, you can imagine as parents how scary it was and what a relief it was that she was equipped with the right intervention, the tool, the power that every person has to invoke divine protection at any point in time.
So the other day, we happened to see Good Morning with Gayatri, and that was the experiences that were shared by some of our young brothers was so inspiring and motivating. And I remember that very night, we earnestly prayed to Swami and chanted the Gayatri Mantra a couple of times before retiring for the day. Well, the next day when I woke up, I had a very bad throat. It happened to be the same day that we wanted to start to come to Parthi, and just felt a little weak. However, since we had made that conviction that we wanted to chant the Gayatri Mantra, we did that and left everything to Swami and embarked on our journey to Parthi. Came to Parthi, wasn't feeling too well, chanted the Gayatri again for a couple of times, and lo and behold, everything was fine. We went about doing all our routine things in Parthi, and it was just so beautiful. This is just a very, very small instance of how the Gayatri Mantra helped in a very mundane yet something which could have affected our stay at Parthi.
In January 2021, the owner of our flat here in Puttaparthi had come home, and I had asked him about renewing the rental agreement. He said there are no changes to be done. But after a few days, when I emailed him the draft of the rental agreement, he got back saying that the rent had been increased. My parents and I were not very keen on paying the increased amount. Then I said, let us try requesting the owner to reconsider. Then I told them, let's chant the Gayatri Mantra. I sent the owner an email requesting him to reconsider his decision. Then my parents and I sat and chanted the Gayatri Mantra thrice. And even as we were doing so, I visualized Gayatri Mata working on the mind of the owner and changing his mind. You will not believe it. In a couple of hours, the owner got back through email saying, yes, I agree with you. You can continue paying the earlier rent. So I really felt Gayatri Mata's protection and how she helps us in even worldly things.
Sarva Dukkha Pariharini Gayatri. Gayatri Mantra removes all sorts of fear, all sorts of grief, all sorts of worries. The most catastrophic event that every Sai devotee had to go through was in April 2011 when Bhagawan left his physical form. I remember a devotee from Venezuela writing to us and saying that the pain was so deep that it was sending her every day into an abyss of trauma. She was unable to come out of that cycle of depression, disillusion, destruction within. She didn't know how to carry on with her life because she never thought that Bhagavan would just one day not be there in his physical form. Her life had come to a standstill. she was going crazy. And it was at this time that Bhagawan directed her to chant the Gayatri Mantra. And from next morning onwards, she chanted the Gayatri Mantra 108 times, and she would follow this up with doing meditation. And she said, it is this mantra which gave me that strength, that courage, that tenacity to come out of that abyss of pain and lead my life normally again. They say you should chant the Gayatri Mantra during the Sandhya times, during dawn, during dusk. Sandhya means the coming together of two time periods, two phases of life. During morning, you have the coming together of the night and the day. During noon, you have the coming together of the morning and afternoon, and at the dusk, you have the evening merging into the night. So during all these phases of transition, one must chant the Gayatri Mantra. And what is the most profound transition that all of us experience? The transition from life to afterlife. When that moment comes, if the Gayatri Mantra is on our lips, it will ensure that our transition is the softest, sweetest, smartest, and the most serene. Not just the person who is moving on to a new journey will go on with smiles, with a soul flying high in peace and ananda. The people who are there at that moment, the people who are grieving through that terrible loss, they will find strength, they will find that energy, they will find something to hold on to and rise through that difficult time.
We were here in July this year on Middle East Pati Yatra, and we were blessed to be here on Guru Purnima day when Swami's Mahasamadhi darshan was restarted after a couple of years. We have been pining to touch that Samadhi and pray, but all these years, due to various reasons, we couldn't do that in spite of being in Kulwant Hall. When July 3rd, 2023, the Mahasamadhi darshan started, we were so blessed to be touching the Samadhi for the first time this year. And I was going on paying my gratitude to Swami. Thank you so much that we are able to touch you now and we are here at this moment. Otherwise, there is a big list of communication that I do to Swami, but that day it was just gratitude that poured out of my heart. When we went inside the mandir and we did the darshan, and when we came out, there was a lady from nowhere came from Kulwant Hall towards me, stood in front of me and took something from her bag and kept it in my palm. Least knowing what it was, I thought she's distributing prasadam. I turned around and she just passed by me after giving this to me in my hand. So least knowing what it was, I turned to call out to her to give the prasadam also to my sister and my daughter who was with me. But I saw she was in a hurry to go out of the temple. She gave this in my hand coming from Kulwant Hall, and she just went out of the mandir after giving this to me. After she went, when I saw what is it that she gave, it was a photograph of Baba's Samadhi. So my sister said, see, you were pouring your gratitude of touching the Samadhi today on the auspicious occasion of Guru Purnima, and look, Swami has given you the Samadhi photo to pay your respect, pay your prayers, pay your gratitude every day wherever you are. But what came with that was a message. Behind that was written, I am always with you, in you, around you, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I was so happy to get that message. I said, Swami, thank you for confirming that to me. But along with that came a packet of vibhuti. I wondered why she gave this to me, because to me, vibhuti is for a powerful medicine for healing. I told my sister, this is for someone and I'm just an instrument. But until Swami gives me that message, I was giving one pinch of vibhuti from that packet to everyone who was unwell, who I came to know is unwell. This happened on July 3rd morning. And on July 5th morning, my father passed away. Everything made sense to me on that moment. Mother Gayatri, who came to me and gave me this message that I am there with you, in you, around you, always with you, and gave me a packet of vibhuti to give to my father before his last funeral rites. We were inside the Kulwant Hall, standing in front of Mahasamadhi, when we got this news that our father is no more and we have to rush back. We were wondering why Swami made us sit as if he's making us sit on his lap, consoling us, giving us a message, and then giving us this difficult news. Swami knew anywhere in the world we wouldn't have taken it the way we took it in front of the Samadhi. And the assurance was really, really timely. My mother said, I want to move to Puttaparthi. I want to be in Prasanthi Nilayam. I want to worship Swami and Mother Gayatri because Daddy is there and they are going to take care of me, nobody else. She has been coming to Mother Gayatri temple every Friday. Every day she comes and takes darshan, and every Friday she offers Sai Gayatri Sahasranamam in front of Mother. And surprisingly, it doesn't stop there. Mother Gayatri assures again and again, do not worry, I am there with you. Every time she finishes the Gayatri Sahasranama, a flower falls from Mother Gayatri, assuring to her that I am there to take care of you. It has been a journey where we have realized that it is not only important for us to have Mother Gayatri as the priority in our life, but it is more important and blessed to know that we are also there in her view.
J.B.S. Halden, a British-born evolutionary biologist who has done human contribution to human genetics, he had said, the Gayatri Mantra should be carved on the doors of every science lab of the world. This is because every student, every professor, every teacher who is on the path of learning and discovery should benefit from the power of this mantra. During the Mass Upanayam ceremony of the year 2000, Swami said, one who is initiated into the Gayatri Mantra at an early age will become highly intelligent. And I personally believe we have a lot of Indian children who have greater propensity towards maths, towards science, towards subjects that need higher IQ, higher intelligence. And this is because for generations in several Indian families, especially in South India, chanting Gayatri Mantra has been a tradition. Our sages and saints have ensured that this chanting becomes a part of the daily routine. There are mothers who do not give breakfast to their children if they don't chant the Gayatri Mantra. And it is for this reason Swami would always tell the students, if you want a bright and auspicious future, chant the Gayatri Mantra. If you want to acquire talents, if you want to acquire different kinds of strengths, chant the Gayatri Mantra. In life, at times when we are face to face with challenging tasks, we need a super energy to power us. We need something more than our normal IQ, our normal reserve of mental abilities and physical abilities to deal with that situation. In Dharma Vahini, Swami says, soul force can accomplish anything in the world. And Gayatri Mantra fosters this soul force. We need good food to preserve the body. Swami said, when you want to do challenging tasks, you need your creative faculties to be powered by the sun. And the Gayatri Mantra draws the effulgence of the sun and it powers your intellect. Once that happens, you can accomplish anything in this world. When we chant the mantra, the magnetic energy that it suffuses us with attunes our mind to waves of supernatural power currents. And that is how magic happens.
So there was one period last semester where I was quite swarmed with a lot of responsibilities. So I had extracurriculars, and then I was also quite involved in my Sai youth. And I think it was just a very busy and hectic semester. And there were a lot of also personal turbulences that kind of made me sure that, okay, I don't think I'm going to do academically well this semester. And I remember on the first day of school, stepping into school, one of my lecturers saying that don't think of getting a 4.0 GPA because no one gets a 4.0 GPA. So that thought didn't even cross to me that I could even aim for a 4.0 GPA. And also the mentality that this was going to be a very hectic semester and there were a lot of things going on in the background. But regardless, I just continued with the semester. I just continued doing my best. And it had been a while actually since I had the habit of chanting 108 Gayatri Mantras. But then in that particular semester, in fact, it was after I had come back from Parthi in December. When I came back, I just kind of had this inner determination as my daily sadhana to do 108 Gayatri Mantras every night. So whether that was 10 p.m. or 2 a.m. or 9 p.m., I told myself every night without fail, I'm going to sit down and do 108 Gayatri Mantras. So at the end of that semester, when I looked at the grades, the individual grades that I've gotten, I thought, okay, I don't think it's not going to be as great as I thought it would be. But then to my surprise, on the day where I collected my GPA, it was a 4.0. And again, at that moment, the first thought that came to me was really that it's nothing else but the Gayatri Mantra. Because I have had academic years where I wasn't very disciplined with my daily sadhana. And I could tell the difference as compared to when I was. So really, again, I remind myself that this is truly the power of the Gayatri Mantra, the power of having the discipline to dedicate our time to Swami, to dedicate our time to practicing a certain sadhana. So really, I think that moment for me was a reminder that yes, the Gayatri Mantra is powerful and I don't doubt it. And I have to continue making it part of my daily life and daily routine.
When I started my current work as part of the Vidyavahini team, I had a lot of well-wishers who came and advised me to quickly wind up my engagement and step down because they felt that I would not be able to cope with a project which is so tech-driven. And I'm not a technologist and I have not done, I don't have an engineering degree, I don't code. And all I relied on was Gayatri Mantra. I understood the education part, but how, and I was a user of technology even prior to joining Vidyavahini, but I didn't code and I didn't do back-end work. I still don't do it, but I understand what the technology team is doing and how tech works. And thanks to AI, it's becoming even easy. Even I can code now because I can go to AI and ask it to code a program. But the ability to grasp a situation and to have the clarity and the intuitiveness to quickly pick what is important, what is relevant, what is pertinent, and what is superfluous, that sharp discrimination is what the Gayatri Mantra confers. This is a 24-letter syllable passcode, and it's a magic formula. And it can open for us doors, change our karma, because Bhagawan has said that everybody is bound by their karma. But if there is one magic potion that can actually override the karmic code entirely, that magic formula is Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha.
They say, whatever you want, the Gayatri Mantra will grant you. Sarva Vancha Falashri Gayatri. She can fulfill any desire. She is like a Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree. Ask for any fruit, a new job, a new home, a new relationship, anything. And the mother is extremely merciful because she is the embodiment of all potencies. And in her are all repositories of energy. She represents Saraswati, Savitri, Gayatri. As Saraswati, she protects our speech. As Savitri, she is our life principle. And as Gayatri, she illumines our intellect. Explaining the Gayatri Mantra, Swami often would use 3 words: materialization, vibration, radiation. Everything that we see around us is materialization. And what powers everything around us? That is vibration. And the source of all this energy, that is radiation. So what this means in simple terms is, every material object that we see around us, that is the principle of Gayatri. What is giving energy to everything around us, That is the principle of Savitri and the source of all the energy around us. That is the concept of Saraswati. So the Gayatri Mantra is a very, very profound scientific formula. It has so many esoteric meanings. The commentaries on the Gayatri Mantra, just like the commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, are endless. And it has started eons ago and it continues even today. It's difficult for us to fathom. That is why Swami said, Sarva Veda Mata Gayatri, it's the fountainhead of all knowledge. And because it is the embodiment of all the mothers, all the divine potencies, all the representations of all the deities, if you approach this divine mother with reverence, you will be blessed with beautiful manifestations of her presence.
The Gayatri Mantra is so powerful. Anybody can do it anywhere. Open to all, Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba has democratized the glory and access to Gayatri Mantra and his glory. And in the course of my work at Vidya Vahini, about 3 years ago, I started going to Madurai often because we were working in a nearby district called Virudhunagar. So a trip to Madurai is incomplete without going to see Her Divine Majesty, Goddess Meenakshi at the Madurai Meenakshi Temple. The first time I went on Vidya Vahini work to Madurai, our team went to the Madurai Meenakshi Temple, and it was absolutely surreal experience for me. As soon as I walk into the premises, I start approaching the premises of that temple, something happens and I feel such love for God and an out-of-mind kind of otherworldly experience. So we had a beautiful archana, we prayed, and when everybody was leaving, I don't know what prompted me. We were actually quite close to the main door, the threshold of the silver door from where we could see the goddess quite well, even though she's still 20 feet inside or something. I would say maybe 12, 15 feet inside. But as everybody was leaving after all the prasadam, something prompted me to just turn my head like this, one last glance at the goddess. And when I did that, she flashed her nose ring like that, like a lightning. And it all lit up, right? It lit up inside because the goddess is made of dark emerald. So I had the most beautiful darshan under that flash of light that came from her nose ring. And I felt very happy and I thought it was just coincidental. After that, I went many more times to the same temple. At every visit I went for Vidya Vahini work, I made it a point to go and have her darshan. But every time I tried to recapture or replicate this experience. So I would turn my head this way, that way, squint my eyes, try to see if I can get that flash from her nose ring, the diamond that she wears on her nose. Nothing ever happened. So then I felt, oh my God, when she gave me that darshan, it was so beautiful and I struggled. Every visit I would pray, Goddess, Divine Mother, please let me see that flash of light on your nose ring. And I have to tell you, about maybe 4 months ago, I came to office. And instead of turning left near Shanti Bhavan to go to my office, I sometimes turn right and go towards our Gayatri Mata in Prasanthi Nilayam. And I'm not proud to say this, but because I'm in a hurry, I roll down my window and I have a drive-through darshan. I just do namaskar from my window and I drive past her. On this day when I went, and there were people in front of the Gayatri goddess, and I was in my car, I rolled down my window, and Gayatri Mata had this big light here. It's like a little solar lamp she had on her nostril. Her nose ring was lit up. And it just reminded me of my prayer to Madurai Meenakshi. And you won't believe, it was not a flash of light. It lasted for as long as my car was parked across from her. It was the most beautiful darshan. And Gayatri Mata reminded me she is Sarva Devata Sarup, Sarva Devi Sarup. So whatever I seek in Madurai Meenakshi or any other mandir in the world, she represents all those energies.
Well, as it's said, better late than never. It's just the beginning for us. And we pray to Swami to give us that grace which can help us think of him and of Gayatri at the right time. Because sometimes it happens that though you are in a difficult situation, it doesn't strike to you immediately. But it is only through Swami's grace that you can instantly remember the power of the Gayatri and chant it at the right time and be able to get that power which is always there within the mantra with Swami's blessings and Swami's grace.
That is so true. Even to chant the Gayatri Mantra, you need the grace of the mother. I remember talking to a very senior lady. She had the opportunity to serve in the Gayatri temple for many years. During the COVID pandemic, one day, her uncle called and said, "I'm not well." This uncle was in mid-70s, and this uncle and aunt, both of them were down with COVID. The aunt somehow recovered, but the uncle was in a very difficult situation. And he prayed and he told her, "Can you pray for me?" Now in the Gayatri temple, as they end the puja, there is a practice of chanting 5 Gayatris. They would chant the Gayatri for Mother Durga, Mother Lakshmi, Mother Saraswati, looking at the first 3 faces of the mother. And when they look at the 4th face of Gayatri Mata at the Gayatri temple, they would chant the Shirdi Gayatri. Sai Ramaya Vidmahe Atma Ramaya Dhimahi Tanno Baba Prachodayat. And finally, when they look at the 5th face of Mother Gayatri, they would chant the Sathya Sai Gayatri. Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. So on that day, this lady, as she was chanting all these 5 Gayatris and the puja was concluding, because this uncle was very devoted to Shirdi Baba, when she was chanting the Shirdi Gayatri, looking at the 4th face of the mother, her mind was suffused with prayers to the mother, praying for her uncle. And when that happened, she says, instantly at that moment, she saw a ray of light emerge from that 4th face of Gayatri Mata. And it came to her gently. And when it came to her, she kind of captured it in her mind. And in her heart, she kept it preserved. And after some time, she sent mentally this light to her uncle who was in Bangalore. And the next day, she receives a phone call. Her uncle is discharged from the hospital.
The Gayatri Mantra is my all-weather armor. It is my shield of protection. It is my passcode to Swami's grace. It is my superpower that I call upon when I am feeling my lowest, weakest, happiest, joyous. It is for all reasons and all seasons. And I wouldn't want to go through life without this such a simple, easy to practice chant, because Bhagawan has told us that the sum total of all the Vedam and Upanishad lies in the Bhagavad Gita. And the sum total of all the Bhagavad Gita distills down to the Gayatri Mantra. And of course, in practice, it distills down to love all and serve all, help ever and hurt never. But to have that formula, the key to get into that zone of Sai protection, divine guidance, for me, Gayatri Mantra has served that purpose immensely, effectively, incessantly, without fail. And it is my life's greatest insurance plan. I bow at the lotus feet of Gayatri Mata.
The Gayatri temple in Prasanthi Nilayam is truly a powerhouse of grace, of protection, of benediction. When you stand in the blissful presence of Gayatri Mata, she teaches you, she urges you to rise from the mundane into the realms of the transcendent. Gayatri Mata will give us whatever we want, but she does it only with the hope that one day we will want what she wants to give us. Swami Vivekananda once said, when you go to a king, you don't ask for paltry things, you ask things which befit the king. Similarly, when you go to God, you should ask that which matches the stature of God. And what is it that you should ask for? You should ask for spiritual wisdom. And because Gayatri Mantra is imbued with spiritual wisdom, it is the mother of all mantras. That is why Bhagavan often said, Whether you chant any other mantra or not, chant the Gayatri Mantra. As you chant more and more, you will begin to experience the unity in multiplicity, the unity of divinity. When you open your eyes, you will not see the world. You will see the world as expressions of Mother Gayatri. When you are listening anything, you will only listen to that as the glories of Mother Gayatri. And when you are within, when you close your eyes, you will experience the magnificence and the beauty and the sublimity of the mantra. This is our spiritual journey. Unity, purity, divinity. For all of us Sai devotees, the Sathya Sai Gayatri holds a very special place in our hearts. And the Sathya Sai Gayatri, like all other Gayatris, is derived from the Gayatri Mantra, the mother of all the Gayatris. What is most important is chanting it with that right feeling. Swami always said, if our prayer is sincere and our heart is pure, we will definitely draw the grace of the mother into our hearts. And in this year of Bhagawan's 100th birthday, to encourage all of us and to immerse ourselves in these positive vibrations, the Sri Sathya Sai Media Center is organizing on June 15th a mass Sai Gayatri chanting. Let us all chant with love, with feeling, supplicating ourselves at His lotus feet, praying for a world filled with positivity, praying that the world is filled with the golden light of the Mother's love and grace. Thank you so much. Sai Ram.
Sathya Sai Shatavarshadam